Okay, I'm going to tie a what's known as a B.F.D or bundled fiber downwing Abbey. It's kind of a classic pattern. The wing is, this particular wing is just a little easier to do than a traditional style mallard wing or mallard flank wing. I have a size 10 hook in the vise, and the thread I'm using is 30 denier GSP. And we want to put the tag in first. And so I've got a silver and gold tinsel, and I need my fingers to work. A little cold in here tonight. Just going to start this on the far side. I'm going to take it back to just about where the bend starts. Maybe just past the hook point. Bring my thread back forward to about the hook point itself. I'm going to turn it so the gold side is facing up. And then we'll collect that. And tie it off. And I'll bring it back to the far side and tie this in coming forward. You can really tie it in wherever you're comfortable with. And trim this out. Just a little bit of a rise there, that's okay. Next, what I'll do is just take some clear fingernail polish and put a dab on the back, let it kind of start to seep in just for some extra protection. Just take my finger and kind of work it around, dab it off. For the rib, I'm using gold oval tinsel and small. I'm going to tie this in so it's on the underside, put a few wraps in, clip it out back for just a second. Next, I'm going to get my floss. I'll tie that in. I'm going to break both of these free. So I can hold them open kind of like this and just wrap them back together at the same time. When you do this, it's kind of important that your rib's on the bottom and your floss or your body's on the top. I'm going to move back into my tag just a fuzz. Clip these and get them out of the way. Next, we need some golden pheasant tippet for the tail. We don't need a lot. Just want to make sure they're relatively lined up. I like to line up the black right on top of the gold tag. So I'll do a quick pinch wrap to get those in. I'll bring this forward. Try to keep the extra of the golden pheasant tippet on the top. That's pretty good. Trim this out. So now I can move into my floss, and if I need to tighten up my tail at all, I like to hold the tail in place as I bring this first turn of floss over. A lot of the times it'll tighten it up just a just a little bit. And we'll work this going forward. Sorry, I'm used to stretching out my floss where the camera is, so it takes me an extra second to do it on the back side or up or down. And we'll just take this all the way up to where it meets the thread. On something like this, what I like to do to keep the bulk down on the floss, so I'll wrap this forward, bring it around on my front side, put a couple of turns in on the front side, and then twist my floss around my thread. Just a couple of turns, bring it straight down, pull directly up, and you can tie it off just like that. Got a couple stragglers there that snapped. I've worked that piece of floss a few times. That's good. And just tie that all down and in. Got one little piece hanging out over here. There we go. And you can glue that if you want. Normally, I think it's a mylar tinsel for the rib. But I'm just using oval tinsel. You want about 5 turns in here, give or take. For the body, again, I'm going to wrap it to the front side. Pull my thread to the front. Twist it on me. There we go. Reverse that and fold it to the back. A couple tight turns. And we're pretty much good to go there. At this point, what I'll do, just to make sure all that stays locked in, is I'll put just a little dot or dab of glue right there. Okay. Next, for the collar, all I've got here is just some hen wing. Just going to separate it to open it up. Tie it in on the side. Again, reverse the material. And we'll trim out the wing and clean up any stragglers that may be there. That'll be alright. Want to double the hackle over. I'm going to pinch, grab, pull down, lift, and do the same thing again. And you can, this wing that we're going to do here in a second, you can do this with all kinds of wet flies if you don't want to do traditional mallard flies or mallard wings, or something of that nature. And for the collar, we really just need a turn or two. Don't want to overbuild it. That's good. Again, I'm going to reverse it. Just going to take my thumb right on top, separate them, and push them down a little bit. You can really decide if you want them all the way underneath or not. So it's up to you. So for the underwing, what I've got here is this is just some very small rooster schlappen, and to do the wing, we want to kind of get into the tips, and we're going to cut the tips out. And you can use a lot of different feathers here. You don't have to have this mini schlop, and it's one of the nice things about this technique is it really opens up some doors with just some feathers that you may have laying around that you're not sure what to do with it. So you're just going to collect them into a little bundle like this. You may play with them for a second until they sit something like that. And we just want them coming in slightly into the tail. Excuse me. So something about like that. Do a pinch wrap. Do a second tight wrap, and then I can adjust it. Get them where I want them. That's pretty good. Wrap back. Okay. And now for the mallard flank. So obviously I've stripped all this away. Then what I'll do is I'll take some fingernail clippers and trim the stem out, and then I'll just reverse some fibers. I like doing the mallard flank this way because a lot of the times they're very uneven when they come to the tip. Sorry, couldn't see that. But when it comes to the tips, lining up, they don't always like to line up very well. You can see how one's longer than the other, and all you have to do is just take the longer one and just kind of pull it back so that the loop opens up a little bit more. And you can kind of collect them and play with them just a fuzz. I'm actually going to get another set. Those tips are kind of damaged. Just trim that out and do it again. And actually you can do this with the underwing too. If you've got some long fibers and they don't want to play nice or whatever. So what we want to do is kind of stretch these tight so that they relatively line up well, like something like that. We're going to line them up and then pinch the tips right on top. Do a couple loose turns over, and now you can adjust them so that you splay them open a little bit. Get them a little messy. Just pinch everything, just pull down with a couple quick tugs. And then I like to tie these off one stem at a time, similar to the way you'd tie off if you were stacking like deer hair or something along those lines. Before I tie it all off, now to the back. I'll come in with my fingernail clippers again, and you can take these out one at a time. Just or however you want to do it. Just make sure you don't cut your thread. It's super easy to do. Kind of clear that eye. And let's make a few passes, tightening all that down. This is one of the reasons I really like the GSP here, because it's so thin and so fine it doesn't build up any bulk. Or very little anyway. I'm going to take my marker and color the thread. We're going to do a colored wet whip. If you got black thread, you don't got to worry about it. I just like the durability of the GSP. I'll take some super glue, run it across so it beads up. Choke up on my thread here, just a fuzz. We'll make a couple passes. One coming down, I'll jump it to the back, and now I'll just whip finish. Trim that out. You can dry that off. It's super easy to get glue in the eye when you do this. So I just have a little feather here, and I'll run it right down through the eye. Kind of wiggle it around, cleans it up real well. And I know the wing looks a little messy, but that's kind of the idea. It's meant to be somewhat of a quick fly, and without all the headaches of doing like a traditional mallard wing or something. So anyway, that's it. If you liked the video, always appreciate a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, everybody, happy tying, take care, and we'll see you next time.